At my sister's wedding, I was given only a piece of bread, so I played a video during my speech. Please stay with me as I tell my story. And please, do not forget to support our channel by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and sharing your loved one. Your support means the world to us. Now to our story. MPO. I always knew I was the outsider in my family, the one they forgot to include in group chats, the one they talked over at dinner, the one who somehow always ended up at the kids' table, even as an adult. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the moment I sat at my sister's wedding reception and was handed a plate with one single, dry, cold piece of bread. Not even butter, just the bread. I looked around. Everyone else was enjoying a full 3-course meal. Fancy salads, steaming plates of steak or grilled salmon, glasses of wine being topped off, laughter filling the air, the clinking of cutlery, everything looking like a scene straight from a wedding magazine. Except at my table, where I sat with a few distant relatives, and a plate that made me feel like a joke. I looked up at the head table. There she was, my sister, laughing, glowing in her expensive gown, surrounded by bridesmaids and friends. Not once did her eyes meet mine. Not once did she notice, or maybe she did and didn't care. This wasn't a mistake. This was something else. You ever have one of those moments where everything just clicks? Where all the years of little digs, backhanded compliments, and being left out suddenly pile up and make sense? That was me, sitting with that stale bread. Was it punishment? A message? Did she think I wouldn't notice? Or did she want me to notice? I didn't make a scene. I didn't throw the plate or stand up and yell. I just sat quietly, smiled at the waiter like nothing was wrong, and let the moment burn itself into my memory. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't the end of the story. What they didn't know, what she didn't know, was that I had come prepared. I didn't plan for this exact thing, of course, but I'd been holding something for a while. Something I wasn't sure I would ever use. But in that moment, I realized the time had come. You see, when someone pushes you for long enough, eventually you stop pulling back. You stop forgiving. You stop playing nice. So I sat, ate the bread, and waited for my turn at the mic. Because sometimes revenge doesn't need shouting or fights. Sometimes it just needs a screen, a few minutes of silence, and a video that can blow the whole room wide open. Growing up, my sister was always the star, the golden child, the one who got the biggest slice of cake, the loudest applause at every recital, the framed photos on every wall. Me? I was more like background noise, there, but never really noticed. She was the kind of kid who could do no wrong. Broke a vase? She's just creative. Got AC in math. It's okay, numbers aren't her thing. Meanwhile, I'd get a lecture for having my shoes out of place. I used to wonder if I was adopted, or maybe just invisible. I remember one Thanksgiving when I got accepted into a really competitive art program. I was so proud. My hands were shaking as I handed my mom the letter. She barely glanced at it before changing the subject to my sister's new haircut. That was normal in our house. Her smallest achievement got a celebration. Mine, barely noticed. There were birthdays where she got parties and gifts and balloons, and I got socks. Family dinners where I wasn't even asked how school was going, but every detail of her life was dissected and adored. When I tried to speak up, I was told I was being dramatic or too sensitive. Gaslighting became a regular thing. No one said that. You're imagining it. You always take things the wrong way. After a while, I stopped speaking up altogether. I stopped expecting fairness. I just accepted that I was second place in a family of 4. Worse than the neglect was the subtle humiliation. They never hit me, never yelled, but they'd make jokes at my expense. She's our little rebel, my dad would say when I expressed an opinion. Don't mind her, she's just moody, my mom would add when I disagreed with something. My sister would laugh, every single time, and I'd be left feeling like a stranger in my own home. As we got older, it didn't change. She picked our family vacations. She chose where we ate. When my grandmother died, I wasn't even told until after the funeral because we didn't think you'd want to come. That one nearly broke me. So when her wedding came around and I tried to be the supportive sibling, I shouldn't have expected anything different. But some part of me still held out hope. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time I'd be treated like I mattered. That piece of bread wasn't just a meal. It was a message. A final, deliberate reminder of where I stood in her eyes. But this time I didn't shrink. I didn't cry. I planned. When my sister got engaged, I was genuinely happy for her. Despite everything, I wanted to believe that this was a new chapter for us. Maybe being older, having our own lives, would bring us closer. So I offered to help, no hesitation. I volunteered to design her wedding website, helped pick out invitations, even loaned her money when the caterer deposit came up short. She said thank you, but never once offered to pay me back. I didn't mind at first. That's what family does, right? Then came the red flags. She sent out a group message to her bridal party, planning the first dress fitting. I never got it. Turns out, I wasn't in the bridal party. It's just close friends, she said, like I hadn't grown up sleeping in the same room with her for 18 years. Still, I smiled and swallowed it down. I tried to help where I could, running errands, helping with seating charts, calming her down during meltdown. But I kept getting brushed off. One day I dropped off flower samples she asked for. She barely glanced at them, laughed, and said, "You really don't get the vibe I'm going for, do you?" I tried to let it go, but the hits kept coming. There were photo shoots I wasn't invited to. Bridal brunches I didn't know about until I saw them on Instagram. Even a sisters-only spa day, which I somehow wasn't included in. When I asked about it, my mom shrugged and said, "You've always been more of a tomboy. We figured you wouldn't enjoy that stuff anyway." That stung more than I let on. When I brought it up again, just to express how left out I felt, I was met with the usual, "Don't make everything about you. This is her moment. You're being sensitive." So I stopped talking. I started documenting every missed invite, every dismissive text, every accidental exclusion. I screenshotted messages, saved receipts, took mental notes of every fake smile they gave me. I wasn't planning revenge yet, but I knew better than to keep trusting blindly. The final straw came a week before the wedding. I found myself helping to print out custom menus for the reception. I noticed that each guest's meal was personalized based on dietary preferences. Out of curiosity, I looked for mine. It wasn't there. I asked about it. My sister laughed and said, "Oh, don't worry, we've got something simple for you. You're easy to please." I didn't respond. I just nodded and walked away. And that's when I knew. They weren't just forgetting me. They were erasing me. So I opened a new folder on my phone. I titled it, "For the Speech." The reception hall was stunning. Everything looked like a scene from a movie. White roses on every table. Strings of soft lights hanging from the ceiling. A string quartet playing something slow and romantic. Glasses clinked. People laughed. Waiters moved between tables, carrying silver trays with meals that smelled incredible. I sat at a small round table near the back. Not close to the family. Not with the bridal party. Just tucked away like a last-minute guest someone didn't know where to put. But I didn't complain. I just watched as plates were placed in front of everyone around me. Filet mignon, roasted vegetables, garlic mashed potatoes. Even the wine was poured generously. Then the waiter came to me. He set down a plate. I blinked. On it was a single slice of dry bread. Nothing else. No butter. No garnish. Just plain bread on a white plate. For a second, I thought it was a joke. I looked at him, waiting for a laugh, or maybe for the rest of the food to arrive. But he just nodded politely and moved on to the next table. I could feel eyes turning toward me. A few quiet giggles. One of my cousins tried to cover her mouth. Another whispered something I couldn't hear, and then laughed with the person beside her. I looked toward the head table. My sister wasn't looking my way, but her best friend, the maid of honor, was smirking. I caught her glance, and she turned away quickly. Still confused, I flagged the waiter. "Excuse me," I asked softly. "Is this a mistake?" He looked uncomfortable. "No, ma'am. We were told you had a special request. This is what was listed under your name." I blinked. "Bread." He nodded. "Just bread. That's what we were told." I sat back in my chair, the blood draining from my face. Around me, laughter bubbled in little pockets. Not loud, but not hidden either. I turned to my parents at the next table. My dad looked annoyed. My mom just shook her head. "You're always so picky," she said under her breath. "We didn't want any drama tonight. Did you tell them this was what I wanted?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. My mom shrugged. "Your sister said you were on some weird diet. She said you'd be fine." That's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was planned. A silent little insult. A quiet way to remind me of my place. A message dressed up in white linen and fine china. And in that moment, I didn't cry. I didn't speak. I just picked up the bread, took a bite, and smiled. They had no idea what was coming. I sat there, chewing that dry piece of bread like it was the finest thing I'd ever tasted. Not because I enjoyed it, but because I needed to stay calm. Every muscle in my body wanted to tighten, to stand up and shout. My hands trembled slightly under the tablecloth. Not from fear, just the weight of years crashing down all at once. The years of being the extra, the afterthought, the shadow. And now this? This final little humiliation, served up in front of everyone? But I didn't move. Instead, I breathed and thought. Should I cry? Flip the table? Walk out? No, not this time. If they thought this was going to break me, they didn't know me at all. Because what they didn't know, what no one in that room knew, was that I already had something. Something they would never see coming. A secret that had been sitting quietly in my pocket, just waiting. 1 week earlier, I had borrowed my sister's phone. She asked me to call the florist while she was rushing to get dressed. I scrolled through her contacts, but a message popped up at the top of her screen before I could click anything else. It was from her fiancé's ex. I wasn't snooping, but curiosity caught me. And there it was. Screenshots. Voice notes. A short video, one I couldn't unsee. It wasn't just petty gossip. It was her, sitting with her best friend, laughing, mocking her fiancé, complaining about how boring he was, how she was only marrying him because it looks good on paper. But the worst part, my name came up. She better not try to upstage me. She's barely even family. That sentence stuck, like a splinter I couldn't pull out. I didn't say anything then. I told myself it wasn't my business. But now, with this bread on my plate and their laughter in the air, now it was my business. So I sat back in my chair and reached for my phone. I opened the file I had saved. Just knowing it was there calmed me. I didn't have to shout. I didn't need a scene. I had something better. They gave me crumbs, but I came prepared with the whole bakery. No one knew what I was planning. No one expected it. I smiled through the rest of dinner, clapped politely during the toasts, kept my voice light and cheerful, but my mind was sharp, focused. Timing would matter, because when I stood up to give my speech, I wasn't going to speak for long. I was going to press play. The clinking of glasses died down as the MC tapped the mic and smiled. Now we'd like to invite the bride's sister to say a few words. I stood slowly, letting the silence stretch just enough. My heart was steady, surprisingly calm. I walked to the front of the room, past tables filled with people who'd whispered and laughed behind their napkins earlier. Past my parents, who looked up but gave no warmth in their eyes. Past my sister, who was busy fixing her veil, not even glancing at me. The mic felt cool in my hand. I smiled. Good evening, everyone. I began, my voice even gentle. For those of you who don't know me, well, that's probably most of you. I'm the bride's sister. A few polite laughs. A few forced smiles. I'm honored to stand here today, watching my sister marry the man she loves, surrounded by family and friends, in a celebration this beautiful. It's truly something special. She looked up then, surprised maybe, hearing the softness in my tone. I've known her my whole life. I've watched her grow into someone strong, confident, and determined. She's always known how to take center stage, how to make people notice her. And today, she's done it again. This whole day is a masterpiece. I paused, letting my words hang in the air, letting them soak. And while I was thinking about what to say tonight, how to express all the memories and emotions, I realized some moments are best shown, not told. The room shifted. Chairs creaked. Heads tilted. So, I said, reaching into my jacket pocket and pulling out my phone, I'd like to share a little something I came across last week. Just a short video. Something I think says more than I ever could. A light gasp came from the head table. My sister's smile froze. I turned toward the AV guy, gave him the signal. The screen behind me lit up. The video began to play. At first, the audio was faint. Laughter, clinking glasses. Then her voice, my sister's voice, clear and sharp, coming through the speaker. Oh my God, I'm only marrying him because he's safe. It's not like I love him. But hey, free house, right? Gasps. Someone dropped a glass. The next clip rolled. Her again, leaning toward her friend. If my sister even tries to say something sentimental during the speech, I swear I'll roll my eyes so hard I'll sprain something. She's so desperate for attention. The room fell silent, completely still, and I just stood there, calm, collected, letting the truth speak for itself. The room was frozen. You could hear every breath, every rustle of fabric, every heartbeat thudding in people's chests. Eyes were glued to the screen as the next clip played. My sister, wine glass in hand, sitting on her couch with her best friend beside her. Honestly, I can't stand half of his family, she said, rolling her eyes. They're so cheap. His mom actually asked if she could bring her own food to the rehearsal dinner. I was like, what is this, a potluck in the projects? Gasps rippled through the crowd. One of the groom's cousins stood up, glaring. It cut to another clip. She was laughing now, full-on cackling. And my aunt? Ugh. She smells like cats and sadness. But whatever, she gives good gifts. People were shifting in their chairs, some mouths open, others whispering, stunned. Then came the one I'd saved for last. I don't even care how my sister feels. It's my day. I can treat her like sh*t if I want. Honestly, I'm surprised she even came. I would have sent her an invite to the parking lot if I thought she'd get the hint. My mom's hand flew to her mouth. The groom's expression changed. His body stiffened. He was no longer looking at the screen. He was looking straight at her. My sister stood, eyes wide, her hands shaking. Turn it off. This is fake. She made this, she edited it. But it was too late. The DJ tried to cut the video, scrambling to unplug the connection, but not fast enough. The final clip hit the screen. Her friend. So, you gonna tell him you're still talking to Brandon? Her. God no. Let him keep thinking he's the only one. That was it. Silence. Dead, heavy silence. The groom stood slowly, calm, but shaking with something just under the surface. He didn't say a word. He just looked at her once, one long, cold stare, then turned and walked out of the room. Guests parted like water as he passed, whispering and watching. My sister screamed after him, then turned on me. You ruined everything. I didn't flinch. I didn't raise my voice. I just picked up my phone, slipped it back into my pocket, and walked off the stage. The truth had been playing on loop for a week in my mind. Now everyone else finally saw it too. And there was no going back. The moment the groom walked out, the room shattered. Guests started murmuring, louder and louder, turning their heads in every direction like they couldn't believe what they just witnessed. Someone from the groom's side stood up and yelled, "You knew she was like this and still let this wedding happen?" Directed at my parents, who sat frozen in place, pale and speechless. My sister stood at the center of it all, her perfect white dress now a spotlight she couldn't hide under. "Shut it off. Shut it OFF," she screamed at the DJ, who had already yanked the cable from the screen and was now quietly packing his equipment like he wanted to disappear. She turned toward me, shaking. "You think you're clever? You ruined my wedding." Her voice cracked halfway through the sentence, her lip trembling, mascara already starting to run. The maid of honor rushed to her side, trying to comfort her, but she shoved her off. "Don't touch me. This is all your fault. You filmed that, didn't you?" "I didn't film it," I said quietly. "I just played it." Her face twisted, but I didn't wait for a reply. The in-laws were already standing. The groom's mother looked like she was about to faint. His father said something quietly to the wedding planner, then waved his hand toward the head table. "Cancel the rest of the night," he muttered. "We're done." Half the guests began leaving, grabbing coats, taking unfinished wine glasses with them, still whispering. Others stayed, stunned, unable to move. Someone started recording. I caught a glimpse of a phone aimed at me, then another. "Post it," someone whispered behind me. "She earned that." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I walked to my table, picked up my bag, and made my way to the exit. Not hurried, not smug. Just steady. Calm. The kind of calm that comes when you finally stop letting people walk over you. Outside, the air was cooler than I expected. I breathed it in like it was the first time I'd felt free in years. My phone buzzed as I reached the parking lot. A text from an old high school friend. "Girl, are you at that wedding going viral on TikTok?" I smiled. Someone had uploaded it already. My moment. The moment the black sheep held the mic, and didn't just speak, but let the truth do all the talking. I didn't need applause. I had peace. And that was more than they ever gave me. By the next morning, my phone was a war zone of notifications. Someone had posted the full clip of my speech and the video reveal on TikTok. It had over 1.2 million views in less than 12 hours. The caption read, "Bride gets destroyed by sister with receipts mid-wedding." Twitter, sorry X, wasn't far behind. Screenshots, clips, GIFs, memes. People dissected every second of the moment I said, "Some things are better shown than told." That line alone had been turned into audio people were already lip-syncing to. One viral tweet read, "This isn't a speech. This is a TED Talk in emotional warfare. I need her to narrate my life." Another, "This is pro-revenge, petty revenge, and justice porn all in one. This girl needs a trophy." The internet had chosen its side, and for once, I wasn't the one on the outside. I started getting messages, hundreds of them. Some from strangers, others from people I hadn't heard from in years. "You're a hero. Thank you for speaking up for everyone who's ever been treated like they didn't matter." That was art. One girl wrote, "I sent this video to my therapist. She said I should use it as a model for handling conflict." I laughed so hard at that one, I had to sit down. Meanwhile, my sister was unraveling. She tried to spin it first, claimed the video was fake, said I deepfaked her voice, that it was a personal attack fueled by jealousy. But the internet doesn't forget, and it definitely doesn't forgive. Within hours, someone found the original video. The same clips I had downloaded weren't just in my hands. Apparently, her friend had posted them weeks ago on her private story. Other guests started sharing DMs where my sister trashed the groom, mocked the guests, even insulted people's appearances. One post showed a screenshot of her saying, "I don't care who shows up, I just want to look hot and get my photos." The bride aesthetic shattered. Her attempt at damage control only made things worse. Comments flooded in. "So you did say it, and now you're mad people heard it?" Imagine being handed the mic at your own wedding, and getting ratioed by your sister. By the end of the day, even wedding blogs were posting about it. The viral wedding meltdown you have to see to believe. I didn't gloat. I didn't post anything. I didn't need to. The internet had taken over. Truth travels fast when no one's trying to protect a lie. It's been a few months since the wedding, and honestly, my life feels different in ways I never expected. What started as the worst night of my life turned into the moment I finally found my voice. For so long, I stayed quiet. I let people talk over me, ignore me, and make me feel like I didn't belong. That night wasn't just about exposing the truth. It was about finally standing up for myself. I didn't do it to hurt anyone. I did it because I was tired of being silent while everyone else got to tell my story for me. For the first time, I told it myself, and people listened. My relationship with my family has shifted. We're not close, and we probably never will be again. But I'm okay with that. Sometimes peace means walking away from people who only know how to love you on their terms. I don't need to force anything anymore. I'm done chasing their approval. Since the video went viral, doors have opened I never expected. A small podcast reached out and asked if I'd be willing to talk about family dynamics, boundaries, and self-worth. I said yes. A lifestyle brand even contacted me for a collaboration, said I had strong main character energy. I laughed, but it felt good to be seen that way. Even people I haven't spoken to in years messaged me just to say they felt inspired. That meant more to me than anything else. Because this story, as dramatic as it was, connected with people who've also been pushed to the side, overlooked, and made to feel small. I don't feel small anymore. I wake up with a lighter heart now. No weight pressing on my chest. No endless replay of things I wish I'd said. I said them. I said it all. And I don't regret a single word. My sister still hasn't apologized. I doubt she ever will. But I don't need her to. The silence I've created between us is louder than any fake apology she could give. Life keeps moving forward. I'm learning how to build it my way now. With people who care. With laughter that doesn't come at someone else's expense. With love that doesn't need to be earned. So if you ever find yourself at a table where they serve you crumbs and expect you to smile, remember this. You don't have to eat what they give you. You can always bake your own damn cake.